So hello everyone, welcome to Triaright. This is Pack 365. Myself Sujit. So in this session, we are going to learn what is exception handling that's available in Python. Okay. So before we try to understand what is exception handling, first we are try to understand what is exception. Why? Because in the previous session also, whenever we are trying to discuss our file handling, at that time also first we are trying to understand what is file, then only we are trying to process how to handle the file by the help of our some operation or any access mode that's available. Just like that, in our exception handling also, first we are trying to understand what is exception, then only we are trying to able to understand how to handle all these exception that's available. Okay, so first, what is exception? So guys, exception is nothing but these are error in our Python. Then you can say that what is this error? So error is nothing but it is a serious problem that's occur during the program execution. Okay. If I try to understand one example, suppose if my requirement will be I want to print hello world in my VS code. Okay, so how to use that? First we are try to write our print function in our single quotation or double quotation or triple quotation. Inside this quotation, now we are try to write the string that we are try to print. So here I'm just try to write hello world. Okay, now if I try to run this one, it will give me the expected output. So guys, just see, now my requirement will be I want to print that. But if I mistakenly forget one single quotation, so at that time here it will be give me a syntax error. So this is nothing but these are our error that's happened during the program execution. Just see, whenever I'm just try to run this code, at that time only it will be give me the error symbol, but at that time whenever I'm just trying to write, it will be not displaying that particular things. Okay, so the next point, all the error which are display in the cell. Okay guys, just see, now if you see, this is called our syntax error. Okay, now if I try to see a type error. Okay, so guys, just see, now if my requirement will be I want to convert a string into integer. Okay, so here my requirement will be I want to convert a string. If the string will be in the form of number, it will be possible. If the string will be in the form of the string, then it will be not possible in the form of our character. Okay, so guys, just see, at that time it will be give me an error that is called our value error. Means these are the different type of error, means value error, type error, zero divisional error, then index error, then key error. So these are nothing but these are the error that's available. Okay, we are trying to dealing all the errors that's available. Okay, then these error are nothing but these are the subclasses in Python, because our Python purely based upon our OOPS concept, means object and classes. That's why, and all the classes, the means the all the classes are inherited from one base class. The base class name will be exception. Means using this exception we can find all the error, means the value error, the type error. These are the nothing but our. Okay, now in this error, means whenever we try to deal with this error, mainly the error are divided into three types. First one called our logical error, second one called be our syntax error, and third one called our exception error. Means these are the mainly error that's available. Okay, as of now we are trying to write all the theoretical point, then only we are trying to understand what is exception error, then how to handle this, then what is syntax error, then what is logical error. Each and everything we are trying to understand. Okay, so first we are trying to write all the theoretical points that's available. Okay, so when your Python program run, okay, so here I'm just trying to write, when your Python program run, sometime, okay, sometime it may face error like dividing error. Okay, G means the zero divisional error. Then we can say that try to convert a text into number. These are the example. Okay, trying Okay, trying to convert text into number. Okay, so these are some errors that's available. So this is nothing but this is called our exception. Okay, so the next point, it is nothing but, so the exception, it is nothing but, it is error in Python, error in Python. Then the next point, all the error, okay, all the error, all the error which are displayed in the cell, which are display in the cell, or we can say that in the terminal, these are all subclasses in Python, subclasses in Python. Then the next point, all the subclasses belongs to, okay, all the subclasses, all these subclasses are belongs to, okay, are belongs to a base class, that is exception, exception, okay, that is called our exception base class. Means from this exception we can find all the types of error. Okay, then error mainly divided into, error mainly divided into three types. Okay, so the first one called our logical error, logical error. Second one called our syntax error. Okay, third one called our exception error. Okay, now we are trying to understand what is logical error and what is syntax error. Okay, so the first point of this session will be what is logical error. Okay, logical error. So what is this logical error? If in your program any syntactical error will be happening. Okay, so means I'm just try to give through an example. Okay, suppose if I try to come to our VS Code. Okay, if in program everything will be syntactically correct, but we can get the wrong answer whenever we are just try to call that particular thing. Okay, so guys, just see, if my requirement will be I want to add two number. Okay, so here I'm just trying to take a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Okay, now my requirement will be I want to add this, but in place of addition operator, if I'm trying to run this as an subtraction operator, so here it will be give me the output as -10, but my requirement will be I want to find the number of addition. So at that time all the syntax are correct, but the logical will be error, means the logic will be error. So at that time we can say that if in your program everything will be syntactically correct, but the result that we are trying to expecting, it will be not come, so at that time we can say that this is called our logical error. So this error in our Python finding very difficult, because we cannot say that at that time we have only 3 lines, that's why we can find it easily. But whenever we have thousands of lines of code, at that time we cannot able to identify this logical error. So in our Python, finding this type of logical error will be more difficult as compared to our syntax error. Okay, now we are trying to understand what is this syntax error. Okay, so if in your program everything logically correct, okay, so here if you see here, just my requirement will be I want to add two number. Okay, so in place of my equal to operator, if I'm trying to use my a subtraction operator, now if I'm trying to run this one, so here it will be give me as name error. So we can say that this is called our syntax error. Means if your code will be not accepting our pip8. So in our first class also I'm trying to tell what is this pip8. Pip8 is nothing but it stands for our Python enhancement proposal. Means by the help of this pip8 we can follow all the condition that should satisfy to write a code in our Python. And what is this 8? 8 is nothing but it stands for our documentation. Okay, and finding of this type of error, or we can say that finding of syntax error will be easy as compared to our logical error. Okay, now we try to write the theoretical ones. Okay, so what is this logical error? So in a program if in a program all the syntax are correct, all the syntax are correct, but the expected output will not come at that time we can say this is logical this is logical error. Okay, now the next point. Okay, finding this type of error. So finding this type of error in Python is difficult. Okay, is difficult. Why it's difficult, guys? Because at that time we cannot say that how many lines we have finding. Okay, it is difficult. Okay, now the next point will be what is syntax error. Okay, so the next point one will be what is the syntax error. Okay, so if any program, if any program, okay, if any program, everything logically correct. Okay, logically correct, but it will not satisfy. Okay, satisfy or we can say that if it will be not followed. Okay, if it will not followed. Okay, if it will be not followed the pip 8. Okay, pip 8, then we can say it is syntax error in Python. Okay, this is syntax error in Python. So what is pip? Pip is nothing but Python enhancement proposal. Okay, now the next point will be finding this type of error. Okay, finding this type of error in Python, Python is difficult. Why? Is easy. Okay, finding this type of error in Python is easy. Okay, as compared to logical error. Okay, now we are trying to understand how to use our exception error. Means after finding this type of error, then how to handle this thing. Because in this session, we are trying to understand what is the exception handling we have. Okay, so now we are trying to understand how to handle this type of error. Because as of now, whenever I'm just trying to run this one at the execution of program, if any error will be happen, then it will be give me the error. But I don't want to got this error. Means I want to handle this type of error that will be not affecting in my code. Okay, so to handle this type of error, we have 4 blocks that's present in our exception. So the 4 blocks are try, expect, and else. Okay, so now I'm just trying to write. These are 4 blocks. Okay, these are 4 blocks that's available, that's present. Okay, that's present in Python to handle okay, to handling the error. Okay, so what are the 4 blocks that's available? First one will be try, second one will be expect block. Okay, and the next one, third one will be else block, and the fourth one will be finally block. Okay, what are these are each and every block we are trying to understand how to use each and everything we are trying to understand. So before we are trying to see all this block, now we are trying to understand what is the difference between our exception and error. Because if you see, now we are trying to understand what is this exception, then what is the difference between this exception and this error. Okay, so whenever we are trying to see that what is error, so error is nothing but it is a serious problem that's occur during program execution. Okay, means whenever I'm just trying to run this code, so at that time if I have something, the program will be stopping that. So at that time we can say this is called error. Then what is this exception? So exception is nothing but a problem that occur during the runtime which can handle by our these four block. Okay, means we cannot handle this error, but we can handle the exception by the help of our exception block, means the try block, expect block, then else block, then finally block. Okay, now we are trying to write the difference between our exception and error. Then only in the upcoming classes we are trying to understand how this four block will going to work, and also we are trying to see the different type of error that's available in Python. Okay, now I try to write the difference between exception, okay, exception and error. Okay, so what is exception, guys? Okay, so exception, a problem, okay, a problem that occurs during runtime. Okay, during runtime, which can be handled, okay, which can be handled by the, okay, handled by the try, expect, okay, try, expect, then else block. These are called our exception handling. Okay, now what is this error? Okay, so I need to give some space because we are trying to write the difference, because in the interview they're going to ask what is the difference between our exception and our error. So what is this error? So error is nothing but it is a serious problem. Okay, it is a serious problem that occur during the program execution, often unrecoverable, means we cannot fix this one at that time. Okay, we need to stop and we need to find that. Okay, so we can handle the exception but we cannot handle this error. Okay, so then we can say that we can handle we can handle the exception, okay, but we cannot handle error. We cannot handle the error. Okay, so the next point, then what is the type, or we can say that the part. Okay, so the part of the Python will be mainly our exception only. Okay, we can say that the type of part of Python will be exception class. Okay, so the type of part of the Python will be exception. And what is the type, mean what is the different type that's available in our error? So some types that are error. Okay, so error, then memory error. Okay, memory error, then we have syntax error. Okay, syntax error. Okay, so these are the main difference between our error and our exception handling. Okay, now in the upcoming classes we are trying to discuss how to handle this error by the help of our these four blocks. Okay, so that's all for this session. Thanks for watching. Try right.